Hello everyone, my name's Tony and welcome to Bite Size Bunny, a channel dedicated to giving you all the bite-sized, short, sweet, and to-the-point reviews for the latest games and movies, and today we are going to be talking about Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Outside of my love for gaming, Ratchet & Clank was one of the big reasons I was excited to grab a PlayStation 5 at launch, and now that it's finally here and that I've platinumed the game, I can comfortably say that not only is this one of my favorite things Insomniac Games has put out, but this is easily the best PlayStation 5 title you can get your hands on. And if you've got the console, I highly recommend doing yourself a favor and checking this one out. My history with this franchise is pretty minimum. Growing up, I was very much a Jack and Daxter and Sly Cooper kid. I always heard about how good the Ratchet & Clank games were, but I never got around to checking them out until recently, whenever the 2016 remake went free on PlayStation Plus. And I quickly fell in love with the gameplay. The story in that installment never quite clicked with me. The characters were really enjoyable and I wanted to get to know more about them, but overall, it was just a fun-ass game. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, on the other hand, takes that gameplay and somehow makes it even better, and then tops it off with a story that was actually really enjoyable. The story in this game is fairly simple. Evil robotic emperor wants to conquer all the worlds through all the dimensions, and you have to figure out a way to stop him. But the thing that carries the game's narrative and makes it so enjoyable is the characters. Of course, you know, you've got Ratchet and Clank who are great and everything, but what threw me for a loop was I was not expecting for the new character named Rivet to be as good as she was. Rivet 100% stole the show for me. From the very opening cutscene of the game, I was on board with this character and excited to learn more about her and to see her story through to the end. And when the credits started rolling, I have to say, I'd be a-okay if they decided they wanted to do a Rivet game or to just keep this character around in future installments of the franchise. Then we've got the gameplay, which is more of what you would expect from a Ratchet & Clank game, but it's perfectly polished and just a ton of fun. Like, this is the most fun I've had with a video game in what feels like forever. I constantly felt in control of every combat scenario and like I got to play it the way I wanted to play it. And with an arsenal of 18 weapons that you're constantly switching between in the middle of battle, it's really easy to find out what you're gonna rock as your main loadout to fit your playstyle. I think the main thing that didn't work super well for me was the puzzle sequences throughout the game. They don't try to beat you over the head with having too many of them, but anytime I did come across one, it just really slowed down the momentum and the pacing of the game. Luckily, you could skip the puzzles with no consequence, but even when doing that, it can still feel a bit jarring going from really fast-paced gameplay to, okay, let's slow it down real quick. And then there's a couple flight sections in the later half of the game that just don't feel all that great. I could easily see how that would be frustrating for some people. So in other words, Ratchet & Clank excels at being an action shooter, but when it tries to do some of that experimental stuff, it just doesn't quite stick the landing. Overall, I highly recommend Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. The gameplay is stellar. The story, while it's not all that groundbreaking, it's still enjoyable, but the game does have some great and memorable characters that I'm excited to revisit in the future. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is an 8.75 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a great day, and see ya!